I'm G, and welcome back to the Season 2, Episode 2 recap and review of Yellowjackets here on Infamous Virus. Episode 2, Edible Complex. The Yellowjackets barely made it through the summer in the woods, but now as winter begins to bite, we'll see if hunger and desperation turns into full-on psychosis. While there may or may not be a dark and powerful force inhabiting the wilderness, their survival could depend upon what they choose to believe. Meanwhile, 25 years later, each survivor must ask themselves, is the darkness coming for them, or is it coming from them? So this was a good episode. I knew leading up to it that this was a couple of the cast members' favorite episode, especially Ella Purnell plays Jackie. She said this was her favorite episode of Season 2, and I know why now, because it's probably her last episode. Yeah, that's like sort of my first little note I took while I was watching the episode, is I really love that they were able to sort of expand Jackie's character from beyond the grave. I mean, I thought it was going to go on much longer. I thought eating Jackie was going to be like a desperation towards the end of the season thing. I didn't think they were going to do it in episode 2, but Ella Purnell is just so great as Jackie, being like the mean, bitchy, like best friend that's like so much better than you in every way and stuff, and she just played the character so well. I'm disappointed she won't be on the show anymore, probably, where she has been cannibalized. I thought the scene with her and Shauna in the meat shed where she says, "That's not what you're hungry for," that was like, holy shit. Yeah, that was a line trademark. That got me. That was like, oh my god. Yeah, so a lot of people have noticed in the opening credits for the show that there's a family photo of Chef and Jonna and Callie, and then for like a split second, like Callie's side of the photo is covered in blood. So people were speculating that Callie might die this season. Also, a lot of I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention to the intro last time, but were there new clips in this intro? Like in the theme song? I don't know, I might have to go back and like compare and contrast, because maybe I just didn't notice, but it looked like there was some new stuff in this new theme song part, which would be nice. Also, sorry it's so bright in here. It's literally like so sunny, and it's snowstormed all night, so the light is just reflecting everywhere. This is literally the darkest I could get it, which is nice because I love the sun. But back to the dark, depressing Yellowjackets recap. Speaking of dark, I don't know if it's just the settings on my monitor or whatever it is, or maybe the version I'm watching, but I find the scenes at night to literally be so dark. Like, so dark that I cannot see what is going on. Like, I have to like get really close to my monitor and like squint and like put a blanket up to block like any amount of light that's coming in or whatever. Like, my curtains are doubled up right now so that light doesn't get in. So it's even tougher when I'm trying to look at something really dark. Anyways, might just be a me problem, but let me know if you think the night scenes are just a little too dark. And I mean, that's accurate, because a lot of the times they just have the fire going, or they're out in the woods and there's no light at all. So Adult Ty was going really hard on the Nespresso in that shot, and I loved the production design of her house and just how like completely fallen apart it is, because like she's not taking care of herself. Like, she's in a terrible place right now, with all the like the sleepwalking stuff coming back, and then losing her wife and kid, and just all of that is just like crazy. And I think it really shows through in sort of how she presents herself, and also how her house presents itself, which is one thing I really loved. Jumping back into the woods, I really, really enjoy the winter outfits they have, because it was like warm out when the plane crashed. A lot of the time they're just in like shorts or whatever, and now it's winter and they were only going to be gone for a week, so obviously they don't have winter clothes packed. So I really love the look of all their layered clothes and stuff, and sort of how they're keeping warm. I saw a TikTok on the Yellowjackets TikTok page where they talked about how they sort of layer up the characters' costumes, so I'll put that in here.
Hi you guys, I'm Nuha and I play Crystal on Yellowjackets, and I'm going to show you how to winterize your clothes if you're stuck in a cabin like we are. So first we have over here, we have some shirts that turn into leg warmers and little tie around so they don't fall. And then next, you're going to have to layer up, even if your shirt's really cute and says a lot about you. Next would be a jacket. I'm lucky that my jacket's really cute. Some of the others aren't so lucky. Woohoo! Ha! Next keep your hands warm, what we tend to do is grab some extra socks that we have, cut some holes in it, and put it on our hands like little gloves. Now they're nice, warm, and toasty. And one thing that I like to do to keep my ears and my face warm is grab just any old shirt and I go like this. Oh, I put it on the wrong way. Nope, it's the right way. Put it on like this. Bring it to the back, bring it to the front, and tie it around. Yay! This is how you keep warm. Bye!
So then after that, we go to Lottie's little cult retreat thing, and like adult Nat looks really good for someone who's been like kidnapped for like probably several days at this point. Her hair still looks good, her makeup's still good, her outfit's surprisingly not torn anywhere. I love that she's like wearing this like big flowy shirt or whatever, and it always like gets in the way. I love when she does little movements or whatever and like the shirt goes with it. It's so great. But I'm also hoping for an outfit change from her soon. And I mean, there probably will be once she gets out of the retreat stuff. But we get a lot of Shauna and Callie scenes this episode. And after the scene where Kevin Tran kind of interrogates Shauna a little bit, I'm really, really surprised that Callie swooped in to save her. Because like they're on rocky ground. Like Callie and her mom are not getting along really, and understandably. If your mom killed someone that she was having an affair with, I don't necessarily think I would be super happy or like wanting to be a good kid or whatever, because it's like, you're doing terrible things. Why can't I do terrible things? I love this like terrible, messy mother-daughter dynamic, and I think both the actresses play it like really well and really realistically, so can't wait to see where this goes and sort of how like Shauna can apologize to Callie maybe, or make it up to her in some way. So the last episode, we got a little vocal cameo from Elijah Wood, who's going to be one of the key players in this season. And in this episode, we finally got to see our little Hobbit King in the flesh, pushing an old lady around in a wheelchair at the retirement home that Misty works at. Very excited to see him interact with Misty. I think that's going to be an incredible dynamic to see. And like I say all the time, it's friggin' Frodo Baggins and Wednesday Addams. That's like awesome. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see his character show up in the show in and actually have like dialogue or whatever. So we get a sad scene where Nat like falsely proves that Javi is dead. She takes a pair of his pants, I think, and cuts them and slices her leg open and gets blood on them. It was really smart of her to cut her leg, not a part of herself that people would see. If somehow they find out that Javi's alive, this is gonna like completely blow up in her face and ruin sort of the relationship dynamic she has with Travis right now that was actually like expanded on a lot in this episode. They had sex for the first time, which was like a really weird scene because he was like having sex with Natalie, but then like seeing Lottie like do like her mystic power stuff on him, so it was a little bit of a weird scene. We also figure out how Travis dies. He didn't commit suicide. Lottie was involved with that and got haunted by Laura Lee, who's in her zombie era. I thought it was really nice to bring that connection back, because obviously when Lottie is coming off her medication, once she runs out, like her and Laura Lee have this like really important bond to each other, where Laura Lee is like a very like religious person and Lottie is sort of like being awoken to all these like spirits and stuff, and like Laura Lee baptizes her in like the lake, and it's just a really interesting relationship to see, and I'm glad that they were able to sort of show that wasn't just like for naught, like it still like affects Lottie to this day. Really, really enjoyed that. I don't know even what part of the episode this was at, but I just wrote poor Ty and then put a sad face. This is probably when her and Simone get in the car crash on the way to get Sammy, because Ty thinks that Sammy is at her house, but it actually wasn't, and she just like dreamt that up or whatever, which is a scary thing. That's scary for everyone involved. Man, I hope Ty gets the help she needs, or I don't know, I feel like when Adult Van comes into play that it's gonna change a lot, and I have a feeling when Adult Van shows up, they're going to do the thing where they tie their wrists together. Again, so Ty doesn't sleepwalk. I mean, that was sort of ruined a little bit in this episode because Ty was able to get out or whatever. She like chewed through the rope or whatever. But I think that would be a nice little scene to have, and I am hoping that it happens. We get a lot of Callie scenes this episode. Obviously the ones with her and Shauna that I mentioned earlier, but we do see her like break up with her boyfriend, and then she goes to a bar with her friend, and like I thought Callie was in high school. So she must have a fake ID or something. Because how was she able to get into a bar? She said something about university, but I feel like she just made that up to lie about her age, because I swear to God, I thought she was in high school. I'm gonna check right now, actually. We're gonna do a live checking. It says occupation student. It says moody teenage daughter, so I assume she's in high school. Yeah, and then the guy she ends up flirting with is actually a cop that's in cahoots with Kevin Tran. And it's like, I thought Callie was being self-destructive and just hitting on a random guy in a bar, but it turns out that he was actually, like, giving her attention, probably to try and spill some secrets out of her to, like, get more information about Shauna and Adam and all that. This was a big episode for The Girls Are Fighting. Presidential alert, The Girls Are Fighting. I feel like that should be, like, the subline for this show. Yeah, just, like, the actresses that they hired for this are just so perfect at these, like, catty, like, fighting scenes. Like, Jasmine Savoy Brown absolutely, like, commands the screen when she's, like, lecturing the other girls or, like, talking down to them, like, the whole, like, shit bucket thing, or even when they're talking about, like, burning Jackie and, like, getting rid of the body and stuff. Like, she just, like, commands them, and I really, really enjoy that for her character, because obviously Jackie was their team captain, and where she's gone now, I guess in some way the dynamic is a little shifted, and there's sort of no, like, quote-unquote leader of the team, so I'm really glad that Ty, like, steps up and sort of, like, reprimands people when they're not doing stuff right, and is very much so a leader character, which is probably why she went into politics when she got out of the wilderness and grew up and stuff. That makes a lot of sense now. So I did a bit of a live reaction in my note-taking. So they burn Jackie's body, and then the snow falls from the tree on top of her, and then it, like, I don't know what, like, the cooking term is called or whatever, but it, like, steam cooked her, so everyone wakes up, and they're like, oh my god, like, what is that smell? We have to go see it. And at first I thought it was, like, a gross smell, but then I could tell that they were, like, into it, and I was like, this is getting weird. And they all go outside and see the body and stuff, and they all start walking over, and then Shauna's stomach growls, and it's like, that's what she would want for us. And then they all eat her, and there's this beautiful scene where they're all dressed like Greek gods or whatever, in like gold leaf like crowns and like very intricate hair and like outfits, and they're sitting on this table filled with like all these lush fruits and stuff, and then they just start digging in, and it's like this, it's beautiful in a sense, because like, I don't know, like the way that they're able to juxtapose like them in like the real world, like eating their friend that they accidentally cooked really well, versus them in like a fantasy world, like all around a table having like a great feast. I thought they did that in such a good way. But now they're all cannibals, and I know that eating human meat does stuff to your psyche sometimes. I think that, is there like you get too many vitamins or whatever? No, I think that's I think if you eat a polar bear, they have like way too much vitamin A for a human. And you die from it. Yeah, so everyone's a cannibal now. I thought it was going to be sort of a gradual thing, like a desperation thing. But no, they did that. Everyone except Coach Ben, surprisingly. And, you know, I thought maybe he would want, like, some food the most where he only has one leg, but obviously not. And I feel like there's something bad gonna happen to his character because he didn't eat Jackie, weirdly enough. I feel like that's something we have to worry about. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this episode. I was sort of, like, worried in a sense throughout it because I had seen a couple interviews where people talked about their favorite episode in the season, and a lot of people said episode 2. I think it's like 2, 6, and 10 were people's favorites. So I was like sort of waiting for something like big to happen. And then they ate Jackie at the very end. They saved the best for last, in a sense. I'm not saying that eating your friend is the best thing you should do. This was a good episode. I mean, we're 2 for 2 now for good episodes. Like, no skip moments, no pause moments because I'm bored. I'm really excited for this show. There's only 8 episodes this season, so we're already a quarter of the way through the show, which is scary because I do not want to wait a year for season 3. Edible Complex, that's the episode, that's the name of the game. I'm doing a little video essay on Yellowjackets, not related to these recap and review videos, but just sort of like on the show itself. So I guess my question for you guys to answer down in the comments is, if the girls in the woods right now, and like the guys who, like Ben and Travis and that, could have like one additional non-survival item like given to them in like an act of God, or like Hunger Games where it like flies in from the sky or whatever, like what would that item be for everyone? I mean, that's a pretty loaded question because there's still a lot of people on the team. But yeah, I would love to know what people would think. I mean, it could be like a board game, or like just anything like not like food, water, shelter, clothes, nothing like survival-esque. I'm talking about like one item that they don't need to survive survival-wise, but like, I don't know, something for themselves or for their mental health or whatever. Yes, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next Friday for another recap and review of Yellowjackets Season 2 here on Infamous Virus. Thanks for watching.